Hey, what's up, guys? Scott Brewer, Veteran Entrepreneur Podcast, episode number 4. Here I have my buddy Calvin. He's the owner of Melodyne and what is it? FURFECT? FURFECT. So today we're gonna have Calvin on. He's gonna talk about his business. He is, I believe, an Air Force veteran. Navy veteran. Ooh, shots fired.
Already.
I thought it was Air Force, dude.
No, definitely.
So anyways, we're gonna talk to him, and he's gonna introduce himself. So go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, branch of service. Clearly, it's not the Air Force, and what you did in the military.
Okay, so where I'm from, I am from a little town in Michigan called Covert. I was back and forth between there and Detroit for a while. Left to go live with my dad in Maryland. So kind of multiple places in Michigan, and I was born in Indiana. Weird. But what I did in the service, I was a IT. Not really though, it was more like being a radio man, because I wasn't, when I became an IT, they had fused DP and radio man, and DP's data processor. So those guys that were downstairs actually messing with the servers became ITs afterwards, because they learned all that stuff. I learned signals. So no. Was in IT for a little while afterwards. Decided it really wasn't for me. Had a really rough little area where I didn't have a job. I lost my job as an IT because of a contract. They gave me a week's notice to go and find a new job. So I was at the time just about to buy a house. I think maybe 3 weeks before then, I decided I was going to buy a house. Fortunately, I did not get all the paperwork signed because of losing the job made me jobless, and I lived with a friend for about, I don't know, a couple years. Then I lived with another couple friends for a year, all while getting my stuff back together. And
You're talking about as you're transitioning?
Yeah, that was my transition. That was kind of
So what year did you get out?
2013.
2013.
Yeah.
And how many years did you do?
6 and a half, something like that.
Okay, cool. And where'd you get out at?
I got out actually in Maryland.
Okay, so you're in the local area. For those of you who don't know, we're in the DC metro area. All right, so you got out then. You did about 6.5 years. And then you started kind of going into your transition. What was the transition like? I mean, did you stay in the local area? Did you leave?
No, I stayed in the local area. Actually found a job after leaving O&I. I found a job what is the base? Right south of DC.
You talking about Belvoir?
No, not that one.
Navy Yard?
No.
It's in DC.
It's literally right next to where the trash processing plant is. I cannot think of the name of it. Not Andrew. Bowling.
Okay.
Bowling.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, I found a job there on bowling, and I was working at night. Working at night in the cold is not for me. I was falling asleep left, right, in the middle, and I was just like, this is not the right job. I need to find something else. I was bored. But that was where being an IT ended for me. After all that, and then living with my friend, I ended up finding a job on Craigslist walking dogs. It's a business name, Cupid Pets. And I walked dogs for her for a while, and I don't know why she fired me one day. She did though. I was like, okay, don't know what happened, whatever. And I moved on. I eventually started working for Wolfies, another dog walking company in the same area. They're both out in Ashburn. After working for them, moved to DC, worked for WAG and Barkley.
Barkley, huh?
Yeah, that was the one that I couldn't
So
remember.
what started you down the dog walking path? Was it just a random opportunity?
Yeah, actually, I was up one night and I was like, I'm just tired of not having a job. I'm gonna find something. And I think I sent the email to her at maybe 3 or 4 a.m. and she responded the next day. I was hired 2 days later.
So financially, you were sort of in a hard place and trying to
Definitely.
find work and bridge the gap.
Yeah, definitely. I was basically living off a friend's dime.
Okay.
Basically, if she wasn't there, I would have been homeless, most definitely. But she's also she's a reservist, so there's another weird part of the story there. But yeah, she's a reservist, and she definitely helped me out. She definitely took care of me. Tracy McNamara. I actually dated her daughter for a little while. But if it wasn't for her, I would not be here right now. Who knows, actually, but it probably wouldn't be in the same capacity. But I definitely owe her a lot for that.
Yeah, it's amazing when people lend out a hand and take you in and kind of help propel you forward in life.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a thing. So, I mean, I guess keeping on the dog topic, which business actually did you start first? Was it FURFECT? Okay, so it was a dog walking, and then how did you sort of propel yourself into that? I mean,
dog walking went from dog walking to pet care because me and Star and I, for proper English, we both were doing it. I actually met her when she was actually already working for Wolfies, so she was taking care of cats, dogs, lizards, birds, whatever. So we started that in DC after we just decided we didn't want to work for WAG anymore. We just didn't like their practices. There was too much bad press around them, and trying to get into Rover was just really difficult because we were just not getting any hits. And it wasn't until after we started FURFECT that I actually started getting people who wanted me to walk their dogs for Rover and who became clients.
So I guess what avenue did you go to acquire like a customer base when you started your business? I mean, how did you spread the word?
Originally, we handed out a lot of business cards, talked to a lot of people in the neighborhood. We've had actually several of our clients recommended to us by either our clients or I don't remember Joe's last name, but Joe's a man that lives in DC who started his pet care company, Joe T Dog Walking, I believe. He started his pet care company at the same time. I guess both of us. I guess it was more of an inspired each other thing.
Okay.
So once it was started, though, it was weird because I wasn't thinking about working for myself only. We continued to work for WAG. We continued to work for Rover up until maybe a year later. But it was at that point that we were like, okay, we don't have to work for anybody else. We got this covered, and then we got the chance to hire some people. We ended up, unfortunately, having to let go of some really good workers because we had a point where we just lost a bunch of clients because people moved or were going elsewhere in DC, and we couldn't take care of them.
So how many dogs on average were you walking in a day?
15-ish.
Okay.
For myself, and I would say she was walking maybe 8.
And so how many people?
Somebody called me about Melodyne.
How many people? Or I guess what's the going rate for these dogs? I mean, like, so you walk a dog. Is it set by time? You walk them for 15 minutes, 20 minutes? And is it just the hour, or is the rate based on that period of time?
The rate is purely based on time. The dog needs X amount of time to be out. It's based on how old they are, how much energy they have, and how large they are.
So these metrics you're gathering
as
you're acquiring a customer.
It helps us determine how long your dog is going to need to be walked.
Okay.
My dog is 4 pounds, so he won't ever need to be walked more than about 15 minutes before he's pretty worn out.
Right.
If you have a Great Dane, you might want half an hour, you might want an hour, but typically we do 30-minute walks. 15 15, 20, and 30-minute walks. 15 is $12, 20 is $15, and 30 is $20.
Okay. And then are you walking multiple dogs in the neighborhood if you have the opportunity to, or is this single person, single dog?
Yes, actually, Bader and Tulip are walked together. We don't really have any others. Let's see, Meek and Melee are walked together sometimes, but other than that, no, we don't.
Pretty
really
separate.
Yeah.
So that's a harder business to scale unless you have a plethora of walkers. Let's say, like, you need, because you can't.
Yeah, you have to have walkers, and then of course you have to pay them well enough for them to want to continue walking for you.
Right.
And the unfortunate thing is everybody's not good at being a dog walker,
right,
just because they have a dog or because they might know something about a dog. And even if they are a good dog walker, they might not be great at taking care of cats because they know nothing about them.
Right. So they have to be well rounded.
Yeah.
So on average, I mean, what's like the general like profit margin on something like that? Like, so, you know.
Well, it's it depends on how you charge for it. The client is the one that pays for the stripe fees in the whole process.
Okay, so they're paying the credit card fees, the transaction
they're paying
fees.
the processing fee, the 2.9% plus 30 cents that stripe charges. It comes out to about 4%. So they pay that on top of their $20 or whatever have you. We charge monthly for all of our clients who use us Monday through Friday. Everything else is charged at the time of it being approved.
Okay. So on average, what do you on a single walk you could take home $5-10? I mean, what?
A single walk as a walker you would take home. Well, depends actually.
As the business
60%. Oh, as a business owner, well, you talking about after tax? $18 for a $20 walk. So I mean, it's only you're just taking out the 20% tax there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they're paying the stripe fees, the credit card fees, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's just stripe fees. It goes through Stripe. It goes directly into my Capital One.
So, and I mean, how many walkers do you have now? Or like, I know the business right now because of the virus and all stuff, but in a traditional setting, how many walkers do you have on average?
Before everything went down, we had, I want to say 3.
Okay.
Star and I were also walking, just the ones in Virginia though. Everybody else was walking the ones in DC.
Okay, so you're averaging with all your walkers and including yourself somewhere around, I don't know, 60 walks a day?
That's a good question. I'd have to do some research on that in order to give you correct numbers, but I would say that we weren't walking anywhere close to 60, but I would say there were probably 25 walks in a day sometimes.
Okay.
But
it's pretty substantial cash flow. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
especially considering you only have 3 other walkers, and you're doing Melodyne on top of this.
Now.
Okay.
But we don't. Of course, we don't have nearly as many dogs to walk.
Right.
All this nonsense.
Okay, cool. So, and that business is located specifically where? That you're in the Northern Virginia, DC area.
DC.
Okay, so if you're in the area, you got a dog to walk, hit up FURFECT.
People.
Yeah,
Got
let them
people.
know. So going into Melodyne, I know we've mentioned it a few times. We haven't really explained what Melodyne is, so I'm gonna kind of turn over to him and just give us, a synopsis on what Melodyne is and everything that it entails.
Okay, so Melodyne is a service to deliver food on base to our military personnel because the choices on base are very limited and nobody really likes DFAC food. Don't let them fool you. We decided that it was a good idea to start it because I had been on base quite a few times. I actually was brought on base because of FURFECT, for that matter.
Okay. That's how originally I think I saw you.
Yeah. There's I there are 2 dogs, TJ and Brantley, who are black and chocolate lab, and they're a little bit too big for their mom to walk while she was recovering from her knee surgeries. She actually got both of them done at the same time, and she's back up and walking now, so she's pretty tough, I guess. She needed somebody to walk them though, and so I took over that job. She found me on Rover and actually decided to go through FURFECT instead, and been taking care of her dogs ever since then. But one day I heard her complaining about how she could only get pizza and wings on base, and how the pizza places weren't even that great, and she wanted a salad. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, let's see if I can do something about that. And I sat on the idea for entirely too long, because if I could actually got it up and running before winter had actually gotten really in swing, I made a whole lot more money.
So when did you start Melodyne?
April 30th.
During coronavirus?
Yes.
Oh wow, I thought you had this.
Oh no.
Wow. This is relatively new. Just to be clear, I mean, like I see this guy in and out of base all day, sometimes 15, 20 times a day. So I mean, he's doing business. This is not like
this was
a onesie twosie type of thing.
This was not a started it way back when, and it's been building. No, it's been maybe, I think this might be its 3rd month now.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's got way bigger cash flow than FURFECT did. Way bigger.
Yeah, well, I mean,
FURFECT at most, I actually calculated it out. At most, FURFECT could make about $525 a day if I was doing all of the walks. So if Star and I were doing all the walks and we had an overnight, it could be 2 overnights, but we do have a dog, so no. So it can't be 600. It can be 525. In one day, we made 597.
Perfect.
With Melodyne.
Okay.
And then the next day we made 460 something, and then the next day we made 5 something, and then it's way bigger cash flow, way bigger. But this is not gross. This is our net. This is after all the fees and everything.
Gotcha. So you're
as a driver,
right?
Yes, as a driver, I actually calculated those ones out. So on one day, I only got 2 of the days calculated out, but one day the driver would have made $272 for delivering I think it was 33 meals. And then the next day the driver would have gotten paid $372 for 38 meals.
Wow. So you weren't, just to be clear, you were not an Uber Eats driver at all. You just
I did DoorDash for about a month, but it was because I wanted to do some research. I wanted to know who I was going to be dealing with as far as the drivers. That's another one of the biggest things about Melodyne, is how we charge is very transparent. I have no reason to be trying to hide behind a bunch of fees. It's 50% of whatever the subtotal is. And I understand that some people will look at that and say, man, that's expensive. But the truth is, it's not. Because as you can see, you can tip 0%. And that's perfectly fine if you do that, because it's no longer based on whether or not you tip if the driver actually can make a living off of it. Because if you want a good driver, you want somebody that's been doing it for a while. And you don't want somebody that's disgruntled because they got really crap tips for the last, 3 hours. They've been getting people to give them zeros. That would suck. So you get your food treated like crap.
Yeah. So to give like some sort of numbers, a hypothetical number, just to be clear for the viewers, like, so if somebody orders $50 worth of pizza,
$25 service fee.
So you're adding $75 it's going to cost to basically bring that food from A to B.
Yep.
And
then the driver is paid 60% of that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And how does that compare to Uber Eats or DoorDash or any of that? What do they pay? Do you know?
I know that in some cases you could make more because sometimes people will just give you ridiculously large tips. They'll give you $40, $50
Right.
because. But as far as a steady paycheck, I think the base pay at the most I've seen for anybody, I think maybe it was $3. Our base pay is $4.50. If somebody orders a $15 meal, they would be paying $22.50 to have it delivered to them with no tip. The driver would make $4.50. The driver, because of the location of the restaurants, can easily bring, as I had to do the other day, 7 different meals on the base at once in less than an hour.
Right. So, yeah, I mean, if you just do the math, I mean, the model is way more advantageous than doing Uber Eats or DoorDash.
And it removes the need for you to pay a tip. The taxes are included in the food, and there is no service fee. And I think one of the biggest things that people have asked me about, I should say, is discounts. And no, you don't go into anywhere else and ask for a discount. So why would I do that? That's not fair to the drivers. That's not fair to anybody.
Right.
Why would you get a discount? Just cause? No. Go into the Gucci store and ask for a discount. Yeah, exactly.
Mind-boggling.
No, you're not gonna get a discount from the freaking Gucci store.
The other thing that I find interesting about what you're doing, so just to be clear, you're doing it predominantly in the Arlington.
Yeah,
doing DC
it's
too,
just
or
Fort Myer right now.
just Fort Myer.
Looking for Fort Belvoir, to be probably the next one to actually go to. It's a little bit larger of a base, and there's gonna be more barracks there, but it should still work out very logistically correct.
Okay. Can you take this model into the civilian populace? I mean, can you do this just like excluding Fort Myer? Can you do this in Arlington itself?
If it's adopted well by the civilian population, I wouldn't. I honestly don't see why it wouldn't be, because your drivers go through so much in order to get your food to you. They go through rain, they go through snow, they go through all the hot weather, they got to deal with all the people, and they have to be patient sometimes in order to pick up your meals. And now they have to deal with all the people not wearing face masks.
Right.
So, if it's not well received, I would be shocked. Because they have to deal with so much more than what people actually realize they go through. And then it's not just that. They're in traffic. There's not a whole lot of it, but I ride a scooter.
Right.
And I swear to you, every day I almost get hit by somebody.
Right. And I
think every single day. It is amazing. People just aren't looking. They're on their cell phones. They're not paying attention. They're playing with their kids. Like, I get it, because you're inside of a vehicle, so it's kind of like gloves. It makes people feel like Superman, and they forget that they're wearing these gloves, and they touch all kinds of stuff that they probably should not have touched, including their children. So, it's better if you just wash your hands, but nobody pays attention because you're on such a small vehicle, and then sometimes people like to challenge you. I'm trying to get out in the traffic, and somebody's like, "No, I'm gonna." Why?
Cut you off.
What is the purpose of this? If you clipped me, I could die.
So the other thing that's interesting too that I really caught my eye was the fact that you ride a scooter. And
logistics.
Yeah, I mean it makes tons of sense, because I mean, what are you getting gas mileage wise?
On the big black one, I get about 75 miles per gallon. On the green one, the Ninja Turtle,
yeah,
it's about 90 miles per gallon. And the red one, before I destroyed the freaking piston, was getting 110.
So on average, I mean, are you filling that tank up once a day, or is that tank riding out for?
It depends on how many orders I get in. I actually have a picture on my phone of me riding 64 miles in one day, delivering food. But I would say maybe once every 2.5, 3 days. I really don't let it get down completely empty.
Right.
Every 2.5, 3 days, I have to put some gas in there. It costs maybe $5.
Right. So your gas cost is I mean,
Very
drastically lower than driving any vehicle.
Yeah.
On top of that, you're much more mobile, right? As far
Yes.
as just being in, I'm sure that there's an advantage to that.
There's a huge advantage to that. Of course, in Virginia, you're not supposed to park on the sidewalks, but everybody treats them like their bikes and parks right there on the sidewalk next to the bike racks. And it's just a convenience thing, so you can get in and out of wherever you're delivering to. For most people who are in mopeds,
Yeah.
and you kind of need to lock them up depending on where you're at.
Yeah, well, I mean, even picking up an order, I would imagine that would be a benefit because, you know, especially in Arlington, parking can be pretty scarce. Yeah, so being able to have that thing, hop on, put the kickstand up, walk in, grab the order, get back on it, and go. I mean, you know, you're not at risk of getting a ticket or getting towed or anything like that.
I did get pulled over though, coming off the sidewalk, right in Roslyn. But Roslyn's an area where they check pretty hard to make sure that bikes aren't stolen.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he wasn't the nicest person to me, but I was like, okay, just either give me a ticket or don't.
Right.
He didn't give me a ticket, and I left. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna deliver my meal now, peace. But it was silly.
Still save time.
Yeah, still save time. I mean, I didn't have to find parking, and I got out there in literally about 3 minutes because you scan the plate. Yep, it's mine. It's registered, insured. Okay, all that.
See you later.
Peace.
The next piece I wanted to hit on was the software and the app. So he has, it's a third party app, right? You basically pay a separate entity in order to use their platform, their application, and then you basically slap your title on it, your Melodyne company name on it.
There are many out there actually. If you Google restaurant delivery service software, you can find plenty of them. It's just finding the right one for you. It took a long time for me to actually find the right one. It took me probably a month to actually find one that I was willing to actually start with. It does come with the app. It does come with it for I think in order to get the app, you have to pay a minimum of $400 a month. But there's still some features that are lacking at this point, which means I have to upgrade and pay like $600 a month in order to actually get like automatic assignments for drivers. There's definitely some convenience things that are needed for
Just
the next
scale.
level of scaling. Yeah. And I now understand why they gate it like that too.
Right.
So if it's just you, you're good. If it's you and another person, this works a little better. Whatever.
Right.
But it's very gated. But the hope is to, by the end of the year, actually not have to pay monthly anyway. And just go ahead and start paying or pay for the one-time fee. It's
The
like,
entire year.
I think it's like 10 grand, something like that.
Okay.
So hopefully that's what we can do. I much prefer paying yearly or paying one time than paying monthly. It's just too much of a money sink.
And so people can download that app. What is the app called? Yeah.
It's Melodyne actually. You can actually download it from the App Store. I'm still working on getting the Android one into whatever it is called, the Play Store. There it is. Still working on getting that one in there. It's still got to be approved. It's in beta, but it's a completely working beta. If you go on to Melodyne's Facebook page and go to bring up the QR code on one of the ads, you can actually download it from there.
And that's Milidine, Melodyne.
Yeah. So FURFECT starting is a whole story in and of itself. We were kind of struggling, and it was just like, I need to do something. And I know that the only way that we're really gonna make any money is to be free of trying to work for somebody else. And so I ended up borrowing the money actually from my dad. I had the money at the time, but Dad was like, well, this will make it easier. You don't have to pay me back immediately. So I used the money he gave me to pay for incorporation for FURFECT. Now, once again, understand I did have the money to pay for it. So it wasn't like Dad gave me the money and then I started a company. But once the company was started, I went through InkFile actually, and they did everything. They still, I think they're still our registered agent right now. For I think it costs us maybe $100 or $200 a year, something like that. But that was that. And we started getting clients, and that one was not a cash needed at all to start type deal. You don't actually have to pay hardly anything to incorporate, as you know if you've watched them. So you can do it for probably $200.
Yeah, next to nothing.
Yeah, $200 maybe. You could get it done and be on your way to having your own pet care business. But as far as starting Melodyne, if you're going to start a food delivery company, the objective should be first to be able to pay for the monthly fee if that's what you have to pay. If you pay for your app outright and all you got to pay for is your yearly hosting fee, then you just want to pay yourself back at that point. For us, it was objective number one was to get enough orders in to pay for the service, which at the time was like 3 orders a day. We actually managed to succeed in doing that in our first month. We paid for it and we made, I think, maybe $100. But that was victory number one.
Yeah,
got it.
It's always a good thing when you're making money, right?
Yeah, that was victory number one, and then we started to really try to advertise a little bit more. We put out some flyers, let everybody know what's going on, and we got a pretty decent jump in in customers. And then we did another round where we were like, okay, we're gonna do free delivery. It was from like June 5th to July 5th. And what we discovered is that it wasn't attracting more people. It wasn't really doing anything. We were just making less money for it. Like, literally, that was all that was happening. It was so unnecessary.
Devalued and undervalued yourself.
Yeah, literally. I was like, because there were some hiccups, because it's a brand new business and we got to figure this thing out.
Yeah.
I definitely delivered some people's meals and paid them a couple dollars to do so. Like, I was like, and of course, every time I was salty, I was like, but I was literally making like $3, $4, $5 per delivery during that month. But it was enough to cover all of our bills, and we had some savings that we were actually planning on using to help us get past that period anyway, because we knew we had to build.
And it was a learning experience, of course.
Yeah, of course.
First and foremost, right?
Yeah, but we have since managed to put our savings back, and we are definitely making decent money now. But $400 to start it, whatever you pay for incorporation, it's not cashless, either one of them, but you can do it for next to nothing. And if you don't have to incorporate, in case you didn't know. You can have a sole proprietorship, but incorporation is kind of a CYA thing, so that you don't get sued and they take everything from you directly.
Protections.
Yeah, protection. Cover your. There you go.
Going into the restaurant acquisition, I know we briefly talked about this off camera. Just quickly talk about how you approach Chipotle, or how do you create this relationship where and also how does your app work? Do they have access to your app? Are you calling these orders in? I mean, how are they receiving your orders? If you could just outline that, I think that'd be an interesting piece for people.
Okay, so everything is a learning experience, and at first you want to make sure you do everything that you possibly can straight through the restaurant. But you will discover, if you are actually trying to build this, that some restaurants use DoorDash or Grubhub or Postmates in order to facilitate their own personal deliveries. So you can't always go directly through restaurants without having to call. And if you call, you have to go in and pay for the meal while you're there, which is why DoorDash gives the red cards. But if you ever drove for DoorDash, I'm sure some of you have, you know that crap is inconvenient. Point blank, period. I actually had one point where I was supposed to wait in line at Wendy's to get to the drive-through window to order somebody's meal and then bring it to them. This order's not ready. No, I'm not doing that. Wow. That's ridiculous. So, I lost my point.
So how do they get the order? I mean,
okay. So we were calling them in, and then we went from doing that to all of our orders are done online. Star actually does all of the ordering in the background. If it wasn't for her, there's no way this thing would survive. She goes on the website and she puts in all of the orders and everything. And what I actually was talking to her about last night is finding someone to potentially build us a scripted website that would, or to properly script our website to where we can have the orders go directly to whatever the restaurant's website is and then be ordered there. That way it's a lot more,
it's a seamless process.
It's a lot more seamless process there, instead of doing like what do you call it, DoorDash and Uber and everybody is doing, where they will pay the restaurant once a week. Well, if we can script it to where it goes and it orders from their website immediately, well, we get paid, they get paid, and well, when the drivers delivered the meal, okay, well, a week later they get paid.
Right.
It's all very much, it's all much more seamless.
Yeah, so that's an issue that you're looking to streamline, because that's obviously a hiccup, or it's just posing an issue that you'd like to overcome, basically, to smooth out the business process, transaction process, actually. Yeah. So you actually don't have to pitch them, then. You're not going in there and saying, hey, I'm Calvin, I run Melodyne, I'm the owner. We'd like to partner with you guys. You're not even really doing that. You're sort of, Star's basically taking the order, then going to the website, hand jamming the order, and then it's going to them, and then you're going there picking it up and bringing it out. Okay, so that makes actually a lot more sense, because I was like, man, like this guy's going around pitching himself and getting all these restaurants. I'm like, that's got to cost money, or
there are a few restaurants that I'm sure will actually join us. We'll have to get them a tablet. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it. Just got to find one that's going to work. I know that the Fire 7 is apparently pretty slow, but I don't think it necessarily matters if all you're doing is bringing up an email with an order in there. So, but the tablets will cost about $50 each. Depends on how many restaurants that we need to bring the things to, but if we have it, once we have it to where either we bring them the tablets or we have it be scripted directly to them.
Right.
The tablets is a little bit slower because we do have to still pay them once a week.
Yeah.
But that's exactly why we want to do the scripting. So it just goes straight to them, bam, done. No more worrying about that. The tablets do give us one opportunity though that we don't necessarily get with scripting, and that is to potentially have the restaurants absorb the costs of hiccups, because they do happen, and there's absolutely nothing your driver can do about it. You're getting a sealed bag 99% of the time, so it's not like they reached in there in order to look around. That would be bad. I mean, it's your food. One, you don't want anybody's hands in it, and two, COVID. So
yeah, I have the same issue. If we mess up a shirt, or a shirt doesn't get there, I mean, I just gotta send them a new one, cover the cost. So that's, it is what it is. So lastly, what's your vision? Are you looking to scale, franchise,
okay, so
try to hopefully get bought out?
No, I'm not looking to get bought out. I'm looking to help as many people as possible, and not just by helping the drivers. What I want to do is, once we have taken over probably a decent portion of the DMV, I want to franchise it. because I know that there are lots of people who will get out and understand, especially because they did delivery somewhere else, or because they literally did delivery through Melodyne while they were in, and they're like, you know what, I can start that, but they don't know how, or they don't have necessarily all the right tools and everything. They don't have the name. Well, here you go. Here's a name. It's already well known. You can deliver and make plenty of money, and it's not going to be just they're making driver money. They're making owner money.
Two totally separate things.
Yeah. So I mean, it. Whereas I might only be able to get 100 people, or maybe more. 100 people though franchised with it. That's 100 more people that are helping. How many more drivers? And those drivers have families. Yeah. So how many people get to actually live better off of this one thing instead of it just being me sitting at the top trying to collect all of it? I don't. Man, billions of dollars is cool, but I don't need a yacht. I was already on the biggest one in the freaking world with fucking Reagan. Is no, thank you. I'm good. I don't ever want to go back out on a big ass ship for no reason. I'll probably take a cruise, maybe. We'll see. But it's much better, in my opinion, to be able to help everyone else be able to live than just try and eat it all yourself. I can make billions of dollars and my family can be rich forever, and I can also make, you know, tens of millions of dollars and educate my family on how to spend it and how to invest it and everything else, and then they'll be rich forever too. Yeah, teach a man how to fish, right?
Yeah, it's vital, especially, you know, giving back to the veteran community and also the active duty community to set something up.
Exactly.
The transition and get out, you know, at least. You're
going through TAPS, you know what you want to do. Well, you know what? I did find out, because I'm gonna definitely make sure it's well advertised that when you that you can franchise it.
Right.
So when the guys are getting out, they want to do it. Okay, cool.
It's accessible, yeah. And it's a proven model.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
so,
it's already very proven. It already makes good money. So, literally, in order to not have to do much work yourself, you just need to you need to get to X amount of deliveries, however you're gonna charge. And if you, well, no, it wouldn't be however you're gonna charge. The number of deliveries that you need to get to, in fact, is about 50. If you want to not have to deliver yourself.
Yeah, be the guy in the car.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy on the scooter, the bike, the car, whatever. You need about 50.
50 a day.
And then you're set.
Which sounds pretty feasible, especially over the course of time, right? Like if you've only been doing this for 3 months,
3 months,
and you're averaging what, just over 30 now?
Just over 30.
So I mean, that's, you know, do the math on that. 6 months you'll be at 60, in theory, right? Like
6 months. Well, no, because that's not looking at the scaling numbers there. In 6 months, it'll probably be about 100.
Well, yeah, but at the lowest rate, right?
Yeah, at the lowest rate, yeah. But it's not hard. It's well, I say that everything is hard if you're not willing to put in the work.
Yeah,
everything is, but it doesn't take the smartest person in the world, because I am not college educated. Nope, I got a GED. But seriously, I really do. I have a GED. I went through military school in high school. Well, at the end of high school, because I hated school, dude. Like 3rd grade, Runaway Ralph just totally destroyed my desire to ever read. But I did like reading for a very long time, and then I started watching YouTube, and that was it.
YouTube. So
destroys the minds of generations.
Yeah, or it helps you. It depends on how you use it. It's a great tool.
I learned how to fix all my scooters.
So how can people reach you? Are you on Facebook?
Yep. I do have a Facebook page for both Melodyne and FURFECT. Don't really use the FURFECT one. Use the website for FURFECT more often than anything. Melodyne, of course, has its own website and the app. And well, you can call the number on either one of the websites. I'll always pick up.
And then secondly, are you looking to provide any sort of mentorship? I mean, when does the franchise piece come to fruition? Yeah.
Huh, that's funny. So my knowledge is never for me alone. It's never going to be. If I can't give it to somebody else and then watch them do good with it, then I don't feel like I should have it. It's hoarding for no reason. I like new stuff, and I like seeing other people make new stuff. I like seeing other people change their life. So yeah, I definitely will help mentor as many people as want to be mentored. I'm completely open to it. I can't sink all my time into it, obviously, because I gotta still build for myself. But definitely, I've had plenty of people ask me about how the business works and how much we're making and how do they get the software and stuff. But you gotta actually start. You can't just say that you want to do it. You gotta actually put your feet forward. There's a guy, Alexander Sennett. He's gonna start his own contracted bouncing business. I talked to him just randomly. He was talking about how he's a bouncer, and I was like, well, why don't you just like contract to make more money? And he hadn't thought about it, and I was like, well, if you're gonna contract, why don't you contract other people's time out so you can make money off of them making money? And then click, boom, and he's been after it for the last week and a half or something like that. He's been trying to figure out everything, doing research, writing notes. But you gotta get after it. That's the biggest thing. You gotta execute. Yeah, you gotta have a plan, you gotta formulate, you gotta execute. Don't try and start most businesses without a partner or with somebody else backing you up. You need some other human there backing you up, such as an accountant. For me, Star is that backup. She will help me remember all the stuff that I said during the day that we need to work on. She's the best assistant I could possibly ask for. Point blank, period. She's really good at her job.
Yeah, so that pretty much wraps it up. If you guys have any questions, comments, please drop them below. All right, I'll get back to you. If it's a question for Calvin, I'll reach out to him, or you can also reach out to him on his Facebook, grab his number, and shoot him a text or a call. He said he'd reach out to you. If you haven't done so, please like the video, subscribe to our page. All right, I think it's on the bottom left-hand corner or bottom right-hand corner. Sorry.
I don't know.
I'm new to this. And then please share this. Share this with another veteran. Share this with another any individual who's interested in opening a business, starting a business, running a business, taking control of their own financial freedom and destiny.
Very freeing.
What's that?
It's very freeing. Trust me.
Yeah, I'm in the beginning stages. It's rough for me. It's not that freeing right now. But
You'll get there.
Hopefully I'll get there. We appreciate your time. I hope you guys took something away from this. I'm trying to bring you a new guest, at least in the beginning, once every 2 weeks. And then as we get going, we'll start bringing you guys weekly podcasts with new business owners. So we appreciate your time. Thank you. Stay motivated.